Prime Minister Lawrence Wong says despite future challenges, Singapore can tackle them, as the country has done throughout its history. He was speaking to a crowd of nearly 900 youths in a dialogue centred on the Singapore dream and the future they wish to see. Sherlyn Seah has more from the event held at the National University of Singapore.
For over an hour, young Singaporeans ranging from current students to recent graduates voiced their hopes, concerns and ideas for the future. While Prime Minister Lawrence Wong acknowledged that there are many global uncertainties currently, he says that Singaporeans should not be afraid. Rather, the country should innovate and improve to emerge stronger. And the government will also continue to review and improve its policies. And in realizing the Singaporean dream, he says the aim is to help Singaporeans be the best possible version of themselves based on their own abilities and strengths.
The Singapore dream should be one where we continue to look out for one another and help each other succeed. And if we can do both together, fulfill our own aspirations, maximize our potential, at the same time help one another as fellow Singaporeans, then we can all continue to look forward to the promise of a better life both now and in the future.
Some participants told me that it's a rare occasion to speak directly to the nation's leader. The youths raised questions around many topics from inclusivity to the cost of living. There were multiple concerns on housing, as many of these youths are in the age group where they're looking to buy their own homes. PM Wong recognized the worries on affordability, but he's reiterated that the government is building as much as it can in both public and private housing.
Even on the private property side, because the HDB resale market and private property are interlinked, right? If, for example, you want to get a private property, you can't get a private property because it's expensive, you may very well say, I get an HDB flat instead. So the HDB resale and private property are interlinked, and that's why even on the private property side, government land sales, which means government putting out land for new buildings, has been very consistently, we have been putting out a lot of land. But these supply moves take time. When the government issues land, it takes time for the developers to come in.
The youths also raised questions on social issues, such as better inclusivity for persons with disabilities in the workplace. PM Wong acknowledged these concerns and says there are current measures the government is taking to ensure balance in society. He also emphasized the need to progressively make changes as society itself progresses, and the government will listen to them as the times change. On the issue of the geopolitical environment, PM Wong answered several questions on the increasing tensions between the United States and China. He says Singapore needs to retain its competitive edge and keep up with its ties with other countries on the basis of multilateralism.
That's how geopolitics is heading. Less of let's come together to look for win-win solutions, and more of, unfortunately, I'm going to assert my own interest, and even if it hurts you, I will proceed with it. We just have to recognize that this is where the world is heading. It's going to be a more dangerous world. It's going to be a world that's more inhospitable to small countries like Singapore. And we have to accept the realities, but at the same time we have to work hard to work with like-minded partners to strengthen global norms.
PM Wong says such moves will ensure the country has the partnerships that are mutually beneficial for Singaporeans. He says the government will continue to strengthen the sectors that matter to youths, such as the arts or science industries and the growing tech fields. He also invited the youths to continue giving their feedback to shape the future Singapore they wish to see.